Tommy Richman is an anomaly. Yes, he is among the hundreds of artists who have had a song go viral on TikTok, but Tommy's is exceptionally different. $1 Million Baby was his song that exploded to #2 on the Billboard Hot 100, and if it weren't for the Kendrick Lamar and Drake beef, it would have easily been a #1 hit. Naturally, when an artist comes out of nowhere, there is mass speculation as to how and why they became successful. Well, today I'm going to tell you the specific advantages and disadvantages Tommy Richman had that led to him becoming successful in a sea of artists that are trying to go viral. Firstly, he created an original sound. It's very difficult to compare Tommy to any other artist, and I will get to the advantages that this has. However, creating his own sound is actually what held him back for many years. Because if you don't know, he has been releasing music since 2016, and if you listen to this track in 2019, you can hear that $1 Million Baby sound starting to develop.
Used to play pretend, thought it wouldn't end. Walked into the doctor, said I couldn't fit. Bitch, I recommend.
Most people don't like originality. They say they do, but their behavior says otherwise. The average person probably eats at the same restaurants all the time, or even when they go to a new restaurant, they still get a burger. They shop at the mall buying the same clothes as everyone else. They watch the same movies, follow the same TikTokers. Their dream homes all look the same. They all have the same monotonous daily routines as everyone else. We all like to think that we're very different, but we're not. We are all painfully the same. Music is no exception to this. We love when we discover a new artist that sounds extremely similar to our favorite artist. We just need them to be a little bit different to keep things interesting. If you get your advice from comment sections or from people who don't understand marketing, then they will tell you that you need to be different in order to succeed, or your career isn't working out because you sound like everyone else, which makes you believe that you need to be wildly original and unique. But when the average person hears something actually different, like Witch House, Gabber, Death Grips, or whatever 100 gecs makes, then they'll say, who the f listens to this weird shit? But you know who hates originality the most? Spotify. Spotify is by far the #1 way that music fans all around the world discover and enjoy music on a daily basis. But when I show you how their algorithm works, you will see there are extreme limitations to its ability to accurately categorize and share original music with listeners. We all know what genres are, broad umbrella terms used to loosely classify music. Spotify obviously uses genre terms to classify artists. They classify Kendrick Lamar as conscious hip-hop, rap, and West Coast rap. That seems really fair and easy to understand. Luke Bryan is contemporary country road, and modern country rock. Okay, cool. Marshmello is bro step, EDM, pop, progressive electro house. Ooh, that one's a little more specific. If you were to guess, what do you think Tommy Richman's genre classification would be? It's tough to call it rap, but I guess the drums are hip-hop inspired, his music has these soulful R&B elements, and he has this high-pitched singing voice. And even he says he's inspired by punk music. Well, Spotify classifies his music as chill, abstract hip-hop. I'm not really a genre snob, but this doesn't sound correct to me. But one way we can dissect this is by looking at the other artists with the same classification. Because in theory, all of the artists that are classified as chill, abstract hip-hop should kind of sound the same, right? So we have Mavi, which kind of makes sense. Mike? No. Makami? Nope. Redville? Definitely not. Jev? Nope. Just take my word for it. Tommy Richman does not sound like 99% of the other artists in this genre classification. So why is he grouped in with them? Because Spotify has determined that fans of these artists also like Tommy Richman. Well, maybe. You see, these are not genres, but rather classifications or categories disguised as genres. Because I think we can all agree that Florida rap is not a real genre. Neither is Arkansas hip-hop, and definitely not Asian American hip-hop, which is a classification given to Eric Raprid, who is Canadian. Now, if you're a Spotify user, you know that if you click on someone's profile and you start streaming their catalog, or if you just are streaming anything, Spotify will just randomly start recommending you new music without you wanting it or even maybe knowing. They base those recommendations on a number of things, but it's likely that Spotify was recommending Tommy Richman's music to fans of Mike, Makami, Jev, Redville, and anyone else in the chill abstract hip-hop category. And those fans were probably skipping his music because he does not really fit in with that group, leading Spotify's algorithm to learn that people skip Tommy Richman's music when it's recommended and then stop giving him algorithmic push overall. all, which would then lead to his releases only being shown to the people who follow him or the songs being shadow banned, which is not necessarily a real thing. It's just that his music was being recommended to the wrong people, so it wasn't getting the streams, and maybe he felt like, what the fuck, why am I not growing? Artists get stuck in the wrong category all the time because Spotify doesn't know how to, or is incorrectly categorizing them, which is why their music is not growing and then their careers remain stagnant. I am constantly giving strategic advice to avoid these problems in my music marketing newsletter called Tuned In. This exact information that you're getting now, I gave to my hundreds of subscribers 2 months ago. If you want to have an advantage over every other artist and learn the secrets music marketers use to gain more streams on Spotify, subscribe to my music marketing newsletter using the link in the description. Every single Wednesday, you will receive a breakdown of marketing tips, content strategies, and general music advice. Let my team save you time doing the research and teaching you how to market so you can focus on doing the thing you love the most, making music. And despite Tommy's originality holding him back from an algorithmic standpoint, at the end of the day, people crave music that is new, fresh, and exciting. You just never know what it's gonna be or when people are gonna want it. Like, it's easy to say in hindsight, but looking back at hit songs like The Harlem Shake and Gangnam Style, these are just weird songs that should have never blown up. Somebody That I Used to Know by Gautier and It Wasn't Me by Shaggy are examples of genuinely good songs that didn't fit the popular sound of their eras. Nobody could have predicted these songs to be hits. But that is the inherent risk of being an artist. If it was easy, then everyone would do it. You just have to do what you believe in, push it out to the world, and hope people connect with it. However, there is one major advantage that Tommy had while pushing his music out to the world, and that is signing to a record label. Is it a coincidence that Tommy Richman grinded for 8 years with little growth only for him to sign a record deal and then blow up months later? No. Tommy Richman would likely have never blown up without the label, yet his music would still be just as good, it just wouldn't have reached the listeners that it needed to reach. Although people think record labels are obsolete now since it's never been easier to be independent, that is just wrong. Record labels not only have seemingly unlimited budgets for marketing, but they have connections to a wide variety of resources necessary to make a song blow up. After grinding on the internet for years, as well as networking with a small group of artists in Los Angeles, Tommy developed enough buzz to be discovered by and signed to Brent Faiyaz's independent record label, ISO Supremacy. It's usually the smaller indie record labels that are more willing to take risks on unique artists, whereas all of the cookie-cutter, samey, TikTok-y sounding artists will get swooped up by major labels, since major labels are really just worried about profits, and the small indie labels are trying to build a resume and a catalog and make a name for themselves. And from there, it's just business as usual. Get Tommy some press, some small blog write-ups, paying TikTok influencers to promote his songs, get his songs on Spotify editorial playlists, get him a big feature, which in this case was him being featured on Brent Faiyaz's 2023 album, Larger Than Life, where track 9 was not just featuring Tommy, but the beat was made by him as well. What the label did not predict was that this song would actually be the second most popular single from the album, which just helped them grow buzz and Spotify traffic to Tommy's page. Now it even made sense for Tommy to join Brent on some of his press runs.
Yeah, working as a collective, like, with how this song came out is I made the beat on the plane to the camp. On the plane. I made like three beats on the
Going
plane.
crazy.
And then I played it to him.
Like, an indie artist will just never be on MTV to do a performance unless you know a guy who knows a guy, or you're the son of the production manager, or, you know, having some in. And it's no secret that TikTok was a major catalyst to Tommy's song going viral, but the way he rolled out the song, in addition to having the record label on his side, is what gave him the advantage he needed. They used his collaboration and IRL affiliation with Brent Faiyaz to launch his TikTok. People who are listening to Brent Faiyaz's music, people who are going to see him on tour, or just people who are searching him up on social media will eventually get Tommy in their algorithm because they are becoming associated with each other. So Tommy started posting tour clips while he was performing in front of Brent's fans, other live show performances, and snippets of unreleased music, just like any other artist would. But his VHS cam and unwillingness to look like a content creator led to his views being extremely low, at least in the beginning, because the first snippet of $1 Million Baby did not blow up. so they promoted an entirely different song called Selfish. While promoting Selfish, the first $1 Million Baby TikTok that they posted a week before went viral, like mega viral, unexpected. So they dropped Selfish April 19th and immediately started getting prepared to release $1 Million Baby next Friday to capitalize on the virality. They posted basically the same exact snippet every day for 7 days leading up to the release, and each video was getting millions of views. Plus, this VHS visual of him in the studio being surrounded by dozens of people is not what a real studio session looks like. This was staged, like a music video. They made it look organic, like he was genuinely cooking up bangers in the studio while people were partying around him. But these songs were made months, maybe even years ago. When the song dropped, it gained 38 million streams in the first week, hit #1 on the iTunes charts and #2 on the Billboard Hot 100. There is no doubt that TikTok was the catalyst to him being viral, and sure, in theory, if he didn't have the label, he could have still gone viral, but with the label support, they were able to push him out to the mainstream radio and get him on multiple Spotify editorial playlists. Even Brent was on ESPN, where they asked Brent about Tommy Richman. Then you had Funk Flex and Joe Budden both hating on the song.
We're gonna document this hot garbage. We're gonna play it though. I know you wanna hear it. I wonder if this is big in the club. See, this part is deceiving, like it might be a good song. Watch the terrible part as it comes in.
Now you might be thinking, why is Flex hating on the song? Like, why doesn't he just not play it? Well, because radio DJs don't just play whatever they want. They have bosses, they have people that they need to listen to. So I'm not saying they don't sometimes play the songs that they want, but they have songs that they have to play, which again, Tommy's song would have never gotten on the radio if he wasn't signed to a label. And I know that it's easy to think that TikTok is the end-all be-all, and the only reason why any song is going viral is because of TikTok. That's just not true. The world is big, people discover music in tons of different ways, and a lot of people are also not on TikTok. It's a catalyst that leads to it being played in clubs and on the radio and in bars, etc. You get what I'm saying. It's usually the starting point, but it's not the end-all be-all. So Tommy creating an original sound plus getting support from the label is what allowed him to break out of the Spotify algorithm jail. Because once you get to a certain level of success, you just kind of get categorized with everyone else. It won't be long before Spotify changes its classification to just hip-hop, R&B, melodic rap, pop, or some other umbrella term, and he will be algorithmically grouped in with every other mainstream artist. I mean, shit, Don Toliver's only classification is just rap. So no, Tommy Richman is not an industry plant, despite that narrative being totally forced and really just put onto every new artist who comes out of nowhere. But he probably would not have blown up if he wasn't signed to a record label. And I think there's just a massive misunderstanding between what independent artists think they need versus all of the resources and power that the record labels still have. And yes, the record labels even have power and influence on TikTok as well. I'm not saying that they can make anything go viral, but they have their ways. But ultimately, Tommy being an extremely talented artist who grinded for years developing his skill and his own sound is what will keep him around for a very long time.